So, hello, it's me, Rino Viarca, or just Reno, back at it again, and let's get down to business. BotBots. That show is out now on Netflix, so that's what I'll be talking about today, because otherwise I'm going to explode probably, and keep repeating the same points on Twitter over and over again. So, in the background here, you'll just be seeing me making a little fan art. So, you can probably tell what my general disposition is towards this show and BotBots in general. I have had pretty high hopes for the show for a while now, looking forward to like a fresh angle in the Transformers franchise. And yes, I really love this show, just getting that out of the way. I had not needed any time for me to warm up to the story or characters at all, as some other adults have seemed to have needed. Though I am biased as I am into children's media and want to work in that field eventually. This will be a non-spoilery video, as I think I would want to make a more in-depth video about BotBots, be it about the show, the art style, character choices, going through the interviews given by the show producers, and comparing my initial thoughts of the idea of the show versus now, as well as what I think about the BotBot franchise in general, and compare the few pieces of BotBot media that we have, like the sticker book, and I now have the Step Into Reading book, which, let me tell you, I have thoughts about it. Lots of thoughts. But you know what? I will just hold off on that for the future. Maybe. We'll see if I want to do that. I keep saying I'm not just going to be a Transformers artist channel or whatever, but here I am talking about Transformers again, so I keep seeing people compare BotBots to other Transformers media, which I think is a disservice to the show. Like, it does its best to not rely on other Transformers shows to hold its weight, so I feel like it's pretty unfair. Also, I see people heavily warn others that it's a kids show and you might not like it. Be careful, it's for children. And it's like, y'all, it's a 10 episode show, or rather 2 short episodes under Netflix's definition of 1 episode. It won't hurt you if you're an adult and you watch it, okay? It's not gonna rot your brain. In any case, finally, back onto the topic, right? Okay, so overall, summary of what BotBots is. BotBots is a Transformers franchise about little robots that come to life after an energon cloud is cast over a mall. These robots are known as BotBots and divide themselves into groups, originally known as tribes, but now have been rebranded to squads. And these squads are based on where these BotBots were brought to life and their alt mode. Alt mode meaning the object the robot transforms into. These robots could transform based on anything, be it objects or actual food. This was a toy line that existed for quite a few years, but it never really picked up steam, and it kind of like faded into, not obscurity, but just the discount dollar store market. I don't know, I never actually saw BotBots being sold at a store near me, so. Now this show, aptly named Transformers BotBots, follows a BotBot named Burgertron who finds himself in the malls Lost and Found. He meets BotBots who have been there, the rumored lost bots, or those who awoke in the Lost and Found and don't have an associated group. These characters being Dimlet the Flashlight, Bonsai the Bonsai Tree, Clogstopper the Plunger, and Kick Me the Soccer Ball. So Burgertron decides to help them out, and while attempting to make it back to his squad, the Hunger Hubs, makes a mistake that causes him and the others to be ostracized from the other BotBots. And so he and his new squad, the Lost Bots, get into shenanigans on their quest to rejoin their squads and be able to be where they belong, quote unquote. As well as deter the mall security guard Dave from capturing them or other BotBots. It's a low-stakes show, nothing too serious, it's pretty goofy and lighthearted. It's serialized, so previous episodes impact future episodes, mainly in the way of character interactions and props. The art style deploys a mix of 2D animation, real-life picture assets, word art, and I think 3D models, especially for the backgrounds. The closest show with a similar kind of art style would probably be The Amazing World of Gumball, which kind of utilizes a lot of different art styles, but not to that very degree as Gumball does. You don't have to know anything about Transformers at all to understand what's going on in this show. It's a pretty clean slate and independent from any other Transformers storyline. So no need to know about the main Transformer characters or the gist about the war or the different factions Autobot and Decepticons. No. BotBots is its own thing. Now the main character, Burgertron, I kind of expected him to be a little selfless and good-hearted, kind of like a stereotypical little good boy kind of character. But actually he's pretty self-centered and short-sighted, which allows him to have some character growth as the series progresses. He makes bad decisions and there's consequences to that. He can be either seen as meanly naive or just super annoying, depending on your personal preference for characters. I think he's a pretty well done protagonist, as he and the other characters kind of have this impulsive, childlike nature, be it in their own curiosity about what's going on around them, or, temper, and that probably works with how children in real life can be. The characters in the show aren't super deep, and they all follow some kind of archetype and play off of it well, but to be honest, that's to be expected from just about any show ever. When the trailer dropped, it was kind of a mess online. Not the trailer necessarily, just a lot of people's reactions to it. I won't go super into it, but essentially people were saying BotBots is kiddie and probably cringe and doesn't fit into the Transformers franchise. So, why not? Let's just go into that just a smidge. Some people were concerned about the potential humor comedy style of the show. Some speculated it would be akin to other shows like Teen Titans Go, which relies on a lot of gross out, crude, zany humor, and maybe Minions, where it's kind of just very hyper, little gremlin-like characters running around being annoying. Some people pointed out the literal poop BotBot and the vomit BotBot that appears in the trailer. And for me, honestly, seeing the glove BotBot and the poop BotBot, man, saying BotBot a lot. Anyway, it did make me think of the Emoji Movie off the bat, not gonna lie. And seeing the giant kind of burning furnace in the trailer did kind of remind me of Toy Story 3. And I was thinking would it try to parody or rip off of that? And I don't blame people for expecting kind of a very immature kind of humor. It's kind of par on the course for a lot of children's media. It's pretty much validated, honestly, throughout the sticker book, the original BotBot sticker book. There's BotBot characters who are originally based on being a poop or fart joke, such as Frosteferatu, the forever flatulent ketchup bottle, and the Plop Father, who drops his filling whenever he is scared, his filling being, the cannoli equivalent of human waste. And the initial BotBot introduction trailer from 2019 does kind of have that wacky, happy, loud little gremlin character vibe that kind of would resemble Minions or Rabbids and the like. I imagine if BotBots had a show around that time, it would have definitely been a product of that time and have a lot of that silly, gross out, mind-numbing humor. However, BotBots show diverges heavily from that. It could have taken that route, but it doesn't. There's not any butt or fart jokes, but there is some kind of poop humor and overall immature kind of jokes, mostly being done by the character Clogstopper, who is a plunger, so you could say it kind of makes sense, but in general he is that kind of obligatory dumb joke humor character, which can be kind of annoying. I found him kind of annoying, not gonna lie. The poop character is never really used for gags at all, is just a background character that appears every now and then. I will let y'all know that the vomit character is prominent in episode 6's Crime and Punishment. Yeah, puns, of course. And when he talks, he sounds like he's about to vomit, and I think he does actually vomit. So if there's anyone with that very severe phobia of vomit. I think it's called emetophobia. Be warned about that. It might feel kind of uncomfortable to watch that. Pleasantly, BotBots isn't plagued with a lot of hello fellow kids humor all too much, or like kind of making references to memes or anything like that. I think for the most part that kind of appears in the second half of Netflix's version of episode 1 called Never Be Yourself, in which we have FOMO, who is like a self-proclaimed influencer and is all about that engagement and clicks. And in another episode, there's some dialogue about quote-unquote being addicted to cell phones and cell phone games. And we all know this is pretty cringe in any kind of media, but it doesn't really happen here in a super long, drawn-out extent. There's some pop culture references and characters singing as well, but it's not majorly done throughout every episode of the show. I admit to being someone who cringes in random music numbers and shows, so I may or may not have skipped those musical numbers. Sometimes the humor of the show comes from highlighting the silliness of situations from our point of view as humans versus theirs as little BotBots, such as how we would see a vending machine versus how they would see a vending machine, and how we would see a bird flying around versus how they would see a bird flying around. And sometimes it's just silly little one-liners that they sometimes also comment on, or shenanigans that characters are a part of. And that last major point, naturally, the show differs a lot from other Transformers media in a lot of ways. The BotBots aren't at war, and don't even know about Cybertron or the Autobots or Decepticons at all. They are not thinking about any sort of greater good or protecting others. They're just tiny little robots made of food and objects who want to live their life carefree and have fun. Like, honestly, if we think about it, like the potential existential horror of coming alive as a tiny little robot whose only idea of the universe being a mall, of which giants from a different composition and obvious worldly influence stomp in and out of your own plane of existence from the great wide void, some out to take you away, never to return, some out to eat you straight up. A whole wide world that is obviously pitted against you, but in spite of all that, choosing to just be head empty, spend your days getting into goofy shenanigans, and close friendships with one another. Like the dedication to just not think about it and to have a good time while life is going. It's pretty admirable, especially because you could honestly take the concept and make it tense and morbid, especially for the food BotBots, or those who are literally rotting food or legitimate pieces of waste. There's a lot that could be speculated for how these little beings exist, as to like how or if they grow, or how or if they heal at all, what determines what they eat, considering food BotBots are just fine eating food as long as it's not another character, and so on. The characters don't really speculate about the world they are in, which is kind of weird because they have a level of knowing and not knowing certain things. Like they don't understand holiday decorations and what lies outside the mall, but they understand the concept of being sold and how to use and control technology, as well as how to read and how to understand people talking. There's some references to other Transformers series, but it's more like gentle Easter eggs, not in your face or anything. Burgertron in one scene says how he likes looking to the stars, feeling at peace by looking at them, which is a nice little nod to the BotBots' ultimately pretty alien origin. BotBots probably has the most female characters of all Transformers series. A number of the characters from the original BotBot line were changed from male to female as well. The original BotBots having quite a number of female characters to begin with. Though in this show, they kind of denote this by having a little eye-tip makeup, whereas in the original BotBot style, only a few female characters had that, most did not. Because of course, how else would you be able to tell if a character is a girl beyond eye makeup? I guess lol. Also, BotBots is probably the only Transformers series, or at least that of recent times, where characters actually care about being robots in disguise. Like they actually use their alt modes to hide, as well as to get things done. You think I'm joking, but in recent years, a lot of Transformer stories just straight up don't have characters transforming at all, mostly staying in robot mode or not hiding from humans or anything like that. So that was pretty neat to see, in my opinion. So now to some negatives about the show. No puns, 0 out of 10 stars. I'm chucking it out of the window, undownloading it from my brain right now as we speak. Alright, so I kid about that. But man, I did expect a lot more puns in the show beyond the episode names. Sorry, I'm just biased for puns, okay? That's top tier humor. There's a little bit of commentary that I feel like it's a bit on the nose that's played up for comedic effect, but honestly these segments don't drag out too long, so it's pretty fun. And now, on a serious mode, what really grinds my gears about this show would have to be the mean-spirited nature of most of the characters. Like, looking at these stills of the different squads, you would expect the characters to be quirky, but overall pretty happy and friendly, right? But in fact, for the most part, they're pretty dismissive and rude to the main cast. Whether the Lost Bots are trying to make friends or help others, they're often treated with disdain and scorn. Like, I understand the Lost Bots are supposed to be the underdogs in that they, or namely Burgertron and Didnt, did something detrimental to everyone's safety, and Clogstopper is generally a super annoying and naively inconsiderate character. But it's kind of grating to see this negative behavior being thrown their way over and over and over again until the last half of the season finale. Like, the squads are super cliquey and unforgiving, which might be in like reference to like childish behavior, which I guess works towards target demographic a little more and gives Burgertron a reason to learn and grow. But it's frustrating to see this since other characters are just as short-sighted and rude as Burgertron can be, but they don't learn and grow, they stay the same. However, despite this, we do see characters come around just a little bit when it's really needed, but just barely. And also, there's some kind of like mean slapstick humor when it comes to Dave, just being portrayed as like this guy who has a very simple wants and goals in life, you know, getting hurt in like the BotBot antics, as well as like his poorly thought out plans, or him suffering in one way or another. But honestly, I guess that's just standard fare for a lot of kids shows for comedic relief or whatever. Like, it's not a serious thing, but I don't know, it feels kind of mean. But overall, it's a fun show and a nice change of pace from the same old millions of year war that we often see in Transformers. It's also an interesting speculation as to the potential effect of Transformers and their technology on Earth. Even though we have yet to know how Transformers are perceived in this universe, whether they are actually out in the open, in hiding, or just a fictional series in itself. I wouldn't say it's an entry into Transformers lore, as it doesn't quite fit in with the rest of the other series, with the main usual suspect characters, but it's a gateway into the franchise and the idea of robots in disguise, for those who don't want to sift through decades of lore in order to understand a show's basic general premise. Like, yes, BotBots doesn't fit in 100% with other Transformers series, but perhaps that's kind of the point. It's like the lost spot of the Transformers, you know, collection of series. So I think it's worth a shot. Like, try watching it. And if you don't like it, well, there's other Transformers series out there for you, like decades of content out there. And if not official content, then fan-made content. But if BotBots at the end of the day still bothers you, well, I guess just cringe, cry, and coat. And with that out of the way, let's talk about the art, you know, the thing that's been in the background. So, the BotBot characters' designs have had some major overhauls from the original source material, especially for certain peeps. This is due to like the art style and making characters' design reflect story and character a little bit more in a more digestible way, which is a kind of what I talk about in that Burgertron art piece video. But perhaps the most striking example of said changes came in the form of the BotBot Frostferatu. Frosty, as he is sometimes called in the show, is a little vampire cupcake. In the original BotBot design for him, he is a lost bot, a red velvet cupcake with permanent swirly eyes and white frosting with blue sprinkles on it. known for hypnotizing others just so he can bite them and give them magic energon, which sends them into like a sugar rush. In this show, Frostferatu is not a lost bot. He's in the Sugar Shock squad, and he plays more directly into the tropey vampire persona with a black and white tux-looking appearance, slicked back hair, or rather frosting, and that Dracula Romanian kind of accent. The difference in his design seemed to be a cause of very, very vocal discussion, as many people came out of the woodworks who've never expressed a love for BotBots loudly to say they didn't like this change. I mean, I guess myself included, honestly. I grew to love it though, and his role in the show, so I drew both versions of Frostferatu together, and then I saw this collage of the vampire transformers and them on it, and decided that yes, I need to draw them with the other vampire transformers, Mindwipe and Draculus. And after drawing this, I have more ideas because I really like, cutesy character interactions, and I'm all for it. And while this is pretty contradictory, as the fan art piece I'm making is a crossover, and I like the idea of drawing other Transformers characters interacting with the BotBots, I really hope BotBots, the show BotBots, doesn't canonically cross over with any of the other Transformer storylines, and that BotBots never meet Cybertronians, or at least not have that as a major point in the show, maybe at the very end. So hear me out. As of right now, BotBots is the only Transformers series that least resembles other series and references them the least. But the fact that it's not like them makes BotBots unique. It doesn't rely on previously established popular characters to draw old Transformers fans in. Sure, you have some lines here and there, and little tongue-in-cheek allusions and imagery. And the end of the series makes a callback to another series, which will definitely affect the story moving forward. But BotBots is its own little microcosm separated from the same old. You got this separate ecosystem where things are just happening. And I'm on my hands and knees. If any of the official people on BotBots are listening to this for whatever reason, just don't add that established Transformers lore and characters into this BotBots universe. Let Transformers evolve and grow into something other than Optimus Prime and Bumblebee wash, rinse, and repeat. You know what I'm saying? I like them, but it's something else. And to wrap it up, BotBots is a light, fun-hearted story with some silly moments and may or may not suit your personal taste. Personally, I ate this show up. I didn't need any time to warm up as a lot of other adults did. It's just pure fun. I like the bright colors. I like the loud personalities that characters had. I might have not liked the overall petty and cattiness that a lot of the characters had towards the Lost Bots, but I'm able to get over it because overall it's a fun series. And I love it, okay? Top Transformers series ever. Yeah. And don't worry, if you're over the age of 10 or 12, you're not gonna explode and perish into ashes if you watch this show. It's okay. It's a show. Just give it a chance. You never know. You might end up liking it for one reason or another. I don't know. And yeah, I'll leave it here. And yeah, here's the finished piece, which is always a very satisfying thing to see as a traditional artist, to see it all come together in one physical piece that I can look up and look close at. And that's all, folks, I guess. So thanks for watching, and feel free to check out my social medias and see my artwork and the links below. So bye bye for now.